Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we're going to be going over Legacy Prime Universe Bulkhead. Now there were a lot of opinions on this figure when it came out, specifically about its appearance, which we'll be getting into right now. Yes, there were a lot of opinions when this guy first came out, specifically about how he barely looks anything like the G1 design. The only thing they kind of brought over with this Legacy figure was the head. The head sculpt is pretty spot on to how he looked in Transformers Prime. Now, as someone who grew up with Transformers Prime and watched it religiously as a child and has a lot of nostalgia for that show, let me be the first to say I don't hate this design. I think for what they were doing with it, they wanted to give their own take on Bulkhead, maybe make him a little G1ified, make him be a bit more blocky, give him that Legacy aesthetic. I think for what they wanted to do, they did a pretty alright job. The chest piece looks pretty good, although I just noticed right now it is clearly painted clear plastic. Fuck you, Hasbro. The arms are a bit tiny for the size of this figure, but given how the transformation works, sacrifices had to be made. The legs, I will say, look really, really good. They look splendid. Just take a look at that. Those just sculpting and painting overall just amazing, and the proportions are okay. In terms of accessories, one of the ones he has is this little mace like he had in the show. You can open that up and put that in his hand. I recommend doing it from the top like this and then closing it up like that. Although if you are going to use the mace, you want to be careful because it has a habit of getting stuck, very stuck. There's a very specific movement you got to do to get the mace unstuck. And if you're not careful, you could just break it like I did while trying to get ready for this shoot. So yeah, mace, pretty good accessory. I like displaying Bulkhead with that in my collection. And the next one we have is this minigun, which he didn't have in the show. I mean, I rewatched it recently. He did not have a minigun, but I'm pretty sure Breakdown did, which this figure got repainted as. And let me just say, why, Hasbro? Why can't I have my APC? Why can't you make me be happy? So there's this little piece stud right here that you can plug into his shoulder right here via this 3mm tab. It doesn't really do much. I don't really like displaying it like that. You can also just put it in here, but I don't know. It just doesn't look right. These miniguns, you kind of have to have them held by two hands in order to make it look good. And I don't know if you can notice, but can't really reach. So I would not recommend displaying him with the minigun. If you have but if you want to anyways, that's your prerogative. He also has this big tarp/riot shield that he can wear on his back via this peg right here. You just plug that in, and he looks really good with that on his back. It's like a big cape. Really helps sell the design and the silhouette. And he can also hold it in his hand for like a riot shield. You just have this little black piece. You just push that into the back like so. And I found don't plug it into his hand. It's not going to look good. It's not going to work well. You put it into his forearm like so. And that is the riot shield. It's a pretty good riot shield. You can also place it on the ground if you want to give your little figures some more cover. Overall, pretty good accessory. We're gonna get back to this when we do the transformation. But for now, we got to get into the articulation. Articulation on this guy is pretty all right. He's got all the basic joints on his legs. Got a pretty good knee bend. He kind of has to for that transformation. Ankle pivot is really good. He's got the ankle pivot. He's got some toe tilts for the which he's kind of got to have for the transformation. In terms of, you probably just saw right now, but that's part of the transformation. But he can look really far up, really far down, and if you accidentally do it, he can do this. I'm going to save that night wheel fuel for later. The arms have a pretty good range of motion, all the 360s you could ever imagine. He even got some wrist swiveling and on my copy they're a bit stiff, the elbow joints, so definitely be aware of that. The head can turn a good amount, and but it can't really look up or down. It's just kind of a swivel. So that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much it for articulation, and I think with that, we can get into the transformation. So for the first step you're going to want to do, you want to flip this up, I believe the first thing you want to do for this transformation is just fold this up, and then this is a very hard piece to move. You just push it like that, and then yank that out. This guy, like his character, requires a lot of brute force in order to get moving. So then you push this head in, and then in the back here, you're gonna want to you're just gonna pop out these arms from the shoulders, dislocate his shoulders, and then you're gonna want to push them down, and then pull this, and then push these wheels down, pseudo wheels down, put them right here. I believe those are supposed to be spare tires. Pull this up, and then right in here, you're gonna want to, and then it'll just create the width, the top. Although I will be careful about this, because if you push that in any way, you can't really pull it back up, and you gotta transform a bit to push that back in. And then right over here, you're gonna want to push these shoulder pieces together. This is a very, very hard to, like the character, requires a lot of brute force. Like I said, just gonna snap those together, bend the elbows all the way, and then you're just going to want to push them into the torso. And then that's the torso, as well as the front wheels transformed. And you can just push that right here. As for the legs, this is a pretty complicated fake matter. So what you're gonna want to do is push. They don't have this part in the instructions. You got to push this all the way in, and then you gotta push that, and then you're gonna want to push the pelvis into the back of the torso, and then for the feet, you're gonna want to put the heels into the front of the foot, and then you want to open these parts up, and that's where the fuel tanks come in. It's very ingenious storage on the part of the figure. And then you just want to open this up, twist those around, put them in, push those down, and then you're going to want to and then right here you'll note, okay, let me see. And then you'll notice right here on the legs, there's this little tab right here. You're going to plug the fuel canisters into those tabs to just lock the legs into the proper position. And then you lock the legs together, and then you kind of gotta push them until they plug in. And then you just pull the feet up. And that's the truck mode. It's a pretty good looking truck. It is a bit, right here, it feels a bit naked. And so that's where the tarp comes back in, because you can actually, you can transform this with the tarp on, by the way. You can just plug that back in. And there we go. And it looks even better with the tarp on, I will say. Oh, even better. Well, another one of the great quirks of this figure is that if we just take this tarp off, there is weapon storage in the back here. They invented weapon storage for this thing. So you're going to want to put the minigun like that, and then you're going to want to put the wrecking ball like this. I believe that's how you're supposed to do it. And then you put the tarp on. Thanks. Weapon storage. That is pretty good. Overall, I like this figure. It reminds me of Age of Extinction Hound in how it looks. It's definitely what I expected for this Bulkhead, but I think it looks pretty good. I feel they managed to kibble really well. This is a really good underside. You can barely tell this is a robot in this way. I guess if you look at the feet, you can kind of get to kind of a giveaway. But overall, this is a really good transformation, really good alt mode. And with that, we'll get into the untransformation. Just pull that off for ease of access. Pull out the accessories, and then we're just gonna reverse it. And then we're just gonna do a reverse of all this. I find when I first did this, I did the feet like this, and I found it impossible to get the heels out. What I find is best is just leave it plugged in, only pull the toes out, and then and I do it here so you can get a better view. And there you go. How didn't I figure that out on the first try? I am an idiot. And then you just pull that out, and there, and then you store it in here. Really good use of space on the designers. I applaud them for how this alt mode is transforms. Very good job. And then we get to this part. This part makes me angry. Doesn't help that this entire torso is painted clear plastic. Hasbro. Oh, it's usually a lot harder to do that. Oh, I take back my statement. Here you go. And I will put him as how I usually display him. So, in conclusion, if you remove his design from Transformers Prime from your mind and take him as he is, this is a solid figure, and I definitely recommend you picking him up if you can manage to find him. He disappeared from my local Walmarts a few months ago, so if you can find him on Amazon or Hasbro Pulse and you got some spare change, definitely pick this guy up. Give him a chance, buddies. Well, that should be everything. Thank you for watching. If you have some opinions of mine or you want to tell me about how horrible this design is, definitely leave that in the comments below. And if you like this video, there is a button for that. And definitely subscribe if you want to see when the next one of these videos comes out. That should be everything I wanted to talk about. So, yeah, see ya.